In this video, I'm going to be going through the 2020 Prelim question 24, which is C and D, which are both drawings. So, the first drawing, what it's given me is a isometric drawing that looks something like this. We're being told that the blocks are 40 wide and 60 long. Okay, so that's what we've been given. What I'm going to draw now is I'm going to draw this in the same object in third angle projection. The thing that we're looking at here is really that you make sure that you understand the concept of third angle projection, which means the top view on top, and all of the objects should be lining up, so that we're going to use construction lines to carry down our to carry across all of our measurements. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this rectangle, which is 40 by 60 millimeters. And I'm going to drag down those two values. This is going to be my top view. And so if I imagine that if I'm standing at a door, if this is the front view as my door, I have a part of the house is halfway back. And so that's how I'm drawing my top view. I'm using thick dark lines. There's no hidden detail here. And that gives me my top view. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a reasonable gap, and I'm going to draw these lines across. And again, I'm going to go 40 because it's 40 high. And that's going to give me the height of all of my things in front view. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can carry down these dimensions. And when I do that, and so that's the height of this block. And this is effectively the front door. Now, something that I glossed over and I should have said earlier, that when we're looking at this, the reason I've drawn these lines out to the left is because if I'm standing here, if I was to go around and have a look at this, so my front door is here, if the window was here, the window is on the left-hand side of this building. So that's why we're going to show the side that we're drawing here. They've asked for the side view. We're going to show that to the left-hand side. So this is why something that a lot of people got wrong when they did this question is they drew the side view on the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend out 45 degrees, and then I'm going to take these dimensions and bring them down. Now this is a pretty easy drawing. I wouldn't expect necessarily everyone to do it this way, but so when we take the top of our object, it's going to be here on this side. I don't expect everyone to necessarily draw all these lines because, like I said, it's a pretty easy object. But I'm showing it in full detail so that way you understand what's going on. Now, I have this object here. This is where the window is. The window is there. And so I'm going to draw my window here. So my window is sticking out. So that stays here. Okay, and there will be the door. It's me standing in front of the door. Now, I wouldn't normally draw those objects, the door and whatnot. I'm doing that just to try and help explain what's going on here. What am I looking for? I do like to see a difference between your construction lines and your thick dark lines. The main thing I'm looking for is you understand that in third angle projection, the top view is on top, and that you understand that these objects need to be directly in front. You can't have, sometimes we see people who draw, say, their top view over here. They draw everything right, but they draw the front view. They draw the front view and they don't line up. So that's really important. They need to line up the top view on top, the correct side view, and that is how we do question C. As for question D, what we're going to do is we've been given another orthogonal drawing. Sorry, we've been given another isometric drawing. We're going to produce the orthogonal drawing from it. In this case, we're only going to produce the front view. And what we want to understand here is more about line types and dimensioning. So the drawing that they've shown us is half size, but the dimensions are correct. So it says scale, the original drawing is a scale of 1 to 2. Remember the dot, we're just thinking about it as a dividing sign. So it's going to be twice the size of the picture. The dimensions are correct. So what we're going to start off with is what is the height and width of the object. The object is 60 mil high and it's 100 mil wide. I should draw this in, light construction lines before I do my thick dark lines. 60 by 100. And then I have this thin band here that goes around about 15 mil. And they haven't dimensioned the slope on the side, but we can make an assumption. We can either take the measurement off the drawing, and based on that, we can say that it's going to be 15 mil. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is 15 mil in, we have a center line. Now I'm drawing the center line now as a thin dark line, so I don't have to redraw it later. I have another center line 20 millimeters down, 22 millimeters down, sorry, and 40 across, so 40 is about there. You would use a ruler. Okay, so I've got my two center lines. Then I'm going to use a compass or a circle template to draw my 25 mil thick dark circle. And I'm going to draw my hidden detail here. So this circle is 15, a diameter 15, so it's going to be thick dark lines. We don't typically show hidden detail very often in the HSE. And this curve, the curve we can see here was a sort of in the isometric version. There's a curve here. The curve doesn't produce any lines, it's a terrible curve. The curve doesn't produce any lines, so we don't see anything. I'm going to go over this with thick dark lines. You would use a ruler. There's no reason for you not to use a ruler. It's a bit difficult, more difficult on a whiteboard, so that's why my lines are going to be a little bit wonky. Lastly, it's asked us to dimension this thing. So the first thing we need to mention is we want to try and think about what are we going to nest? What dimensions are going to be nested? So we've got 15 and 20 as our vertical height. So we want to probably include both of those. And we have 3 horizontal, but I might put the 15 here as a different dimension. So these are going to be thin dark lines, the same as our center line. So this small gap, 1 to 2 millimeters, 10 millimeters, 2 millimeters. Arrows should be 3 millimeters. Now, if the number doesn't fit, we can put the number to the side like that. So here we're going to have our 10 millimeters away from the object, a small gap, so it's not touching anything. We're going to draw our arrows. So it's 22. I'm going to extend that out by another 10 millimeters. You're supposed to draw your arrows from the meeting point. I don't usually do that, but I do know that that is what I've been taught. So we're going to nest those. That was 40. You probably should be able to fit 15 in the space. I'm just showing that as an alternative way of dimensioning. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that dimensions, everything else. I don't think there's anything else I need to talk about. Thanks very much.